All right, so we're at MAGFest 2020 talking to Matt and Eli from the Hit Points. You want to give us a little background of your lives as musicians?
Yeah. I can start with me. The mic. I started playing banjo when I was 11, and actually, my mom and my parents, my mom and dad, they tried to get me away from video games because I was playing too much. I was really interested in the music, and also growing up hearing like my grandpa and friends. He had like a local band, and growing up listening to them play. That combined with video game music, I became very interested in music, and so my parents, encouraged me to start playing an instrument rather than playing video games. I guess from there, became a full professional musician in 2005. Started a band, started touring, having the love for video game music like constantly in the background, not really knowing what to do with it other than just love it. Started another project called Chess Boxer, and that a lot of the music from that was based on inspiration from like we would write music to playing video games on mute and just kind of like write soundtracks to them, and so that was kind of just another, I don't know, way to not really know what to do with the passion for and love of video game music, but doing something with it. And then like 2005, met Eli, and am I jumping ahead? Maybe I'm jumping ahead. Anyway, we met 2005 or something like that, and I'll pass the mic to him.
Yeah, I grew up. My mom was a Suzuki violin teacher, so she started me playing Suzuki violin when I was almost 4 years old, and so I was lucky to have that. She practiced with me until I was about 12 or 13 years old every day, which was very fortunate. I was lucky to have it. And my older brother is 12 years older than me, and so my parents didn't really want me playing video games, but he already had video games, and so I found his Super Nintendo and his Game Boy, and so I started playing these games, and there wasn't really anything they could do about it at that point. And playing music all the time and playing those games, I know Matt did the same thing. You just pick up your instrument and start playing along with the songs in the games because there's such good music. Always inspired me. I know it always inspired Matt too, and kind of contributed to our musicality at this point, outside of the Hit Points even, just in general.
Yeah.
And then when Matt and I met, we had shared a mutual love of video games and video game music specifically, and eventually started the Hit Points together as we seemed to try and fill a void there with the Bluegrass element being brought into the video game cover band scene. So that's kind of how we got to that point.
At MAGFest.
At MAGFest.
Oh my gosh. I remember Eli actually told me about MAGFest, and we came up here just to kind of scope it out, and just had our minds completely blown, man. I mean, it was just absolutely amazing. This is incredible. Absolutely incredible.
Yeah. Yeah, we were the first year we came up. This is our third MAGFest. The first time we came up, we were just walking around at least the whole first day of our jaws on the ground, basically, just disbelief. And there's so many great bands here, professionals or even amateurs, that are just, their ranging skills are top notch, and you can tell they've put a lot of time into what they're doing. And it's really impressive and really inspiring, I think, for everybody. And Matt and I work as professional musicians outside of the Hit Points as well, and but anybody can do it, I think, whether it's at an amateur level or a professional level.
So you guys want to talk? I mean, so you guys have some pretty fancy accolades as professional musicians. You want to talk about any of that, like people you've worked with, and how you've managed to collaborate with so many interesting people?
Yeah, I went to I studied classical violin up till I was about 14 years old. And I grew up in Nashville, and so was always exposed to bluegrass and country music and other things and jazz and all that. And when I was in high school, I got really interested in jazz music more, and I ended up going to the Berklee College of Music for 2 years. And studying jazz there and video game music composition for a minor. But spent most of my focus on jazz violin. And then when I moved back to Nashville, I started working more in the bluegrass and country scene. And that's how I met Matt. Actually, it was through the old 5-Spot Jam, notorious bluegrass jam. It was pretty epic. No longer exists now in Nashville, but it was great spot. A lot of good music was played there, and a lot of good people were met there. Outside of the hit points, I've done a lot of transcription work, a good bit of arranging work. Some of that has led to different performance opportunities. Most of the people I've played with have been country artists and jazz artists. Worked some with Wynton Marsalis and Jazz at Lincoln Center, and worked some with a guy named Mark O'Connor, great fiddle player, and then sub with the Opry House Band in Nashville sometimes. But Matt's got a long list here. I'm going to pass it off to him.
So I started a band. We got signed to a record deal in Nashville, living in Texas at the time, all of us. And then we put out 4 records and an EP. Started working with Dan Arbach from the Black Keys, on into Mumford and Sons, and Bruce Hornsby, Warren Haynes, toured with those guys a bit. And yeah, stuff.
Cool. Yeah. So like. Anything,
and so MAGFest.
What are you looking forward to at MAGFest? What do you enjoy so far?
MAGFest. We have enjoyed just the environment. There's a really special kindred spiritedness here. I don't know that I've not ever experienced anywhere else. From the Bonnaroos to the Coachellas to there's something really unique and beautiful and here that I love a lot. So I really appreciate that, and I always look forward to that.
Yeah, absolutely. Echoing what Matt said, the overall presence of everyone here is very, very welcoming and very appreciative. People seem to be into just video game music so much that it's just kind of people just even doing video game music is just a really welcoming thing here, and everybody's so nice. So you can just be walking down the hallway and stop for a minute. Somebody will come up and say hey and just start talking to you, and you'll find you have a lot of mutual interests with them and mutual respects for a lot of the same games and composers. Some of the stuff I've specifically enjoyed at MAGFest has been like the Super Soul Brothers, Videri String Quartet, Tri-Force String Quartet, Arm Cannon, all those guys. Too many of the lists. We lucked out. We got the guy who did the artwork for our album, Chuck Finbeard Simpson. He got us here 3 years ago for our first MAGFest because he was playing here with his band Lonely Rolling Stars, and that was how we were able to come check this out, and it blew our minds. So yeah, it's just such a warm and welcoming place, and the crowds are like nothing we've ever experienced at other places, smaller or bigger, tens of thousands of people or intimate crowds. This is still the best crowd. We were saying last night after the show, best crowds we've ever played for.
Absolutely.
Awesome, great. Thanks so much for chatting.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having us.